Hello and welcome. I'm thrilled to have you join me for today's live session on how to turn your potential talents into rising stars. If you can hear me, please write yes in the chat. What I hear from many HR professionals and executives today is we want to unlock the next level of potential and growth in our organization, not by doing more, not by pushing harder, but by making better choices in how we lead, communicate, and collaborate. Today's event will be no longer than 10 minutes. Let me suggest you to close your browsers and notifications and use these 10 minutes as a strengthening break that will increase your focus and energy. I'm Lizzie Clausen, high performance coach. For the last 25 years, I've had the privilege to work with leaders at Rituals, Volvo, Lego, and many others. I'm also the author of From Suffering to Surfing and Performance Alchemy, which both hit #1 on Amazon. I work with a team of amazing individuals at Brighter Leaders. You can learn more about our work at brighterleaders.com. I have a gift for you at the end of this session, so stay tuned all the way. I work with leaders who are ready to grow, not just in results, but in clarity and connection and long-term impact. Let's start here. Growth is already happening. You and your organization are already capable. The question is, what conditions allow that capability to fully come out? My experience shows that potential sometimes needs to be developed and sometimes needs to be activated. From my work with leadership teams across industries, I've seen 5 powerful shifts that open up a whole new level of performance. The shifts I will share with you are the following: clarity over busyness, energy-led time management, communication that connects, emotional intelligence, and collaboration across functions. So let's start with clarity over busyness. High performers don't crave more structure, they crave more clarity. Clarity of goals, clarity of roles, clarity of direction. One of the fastest ways to unlock potential is to shift from let's do more to let's get clear on what truly matters. Organizations who make space for reflection, focus, and alignment win back time and energy for everyone. One company I worked with had 15 top priorities. The result? Everyone felt exhausted, but no one felt accomplished. When they cut that list down to 5, they immediately had more energy, more focus, and started hitting milestones. Here's the shift. Business often feels productive, but clarity is what drives results. If you resonate with this, write yes in the chat. Second on is true time mastery, which isn't about squeezing tasks into a calendar. It's about protecting energy for what matters most. What I teach leaders is this: don't just schedule your time, lead it. Block time for strategic thinking. Honor your peak energy hours. Use micro pauses to reset and refocus. It's not indulgent, it's sustainable leadership. I coach a CEO who was constantly double booked, running from one meeting to the next. His breakthrough came when he realized his mornings were his highest energy zone, yet he spent them buried in emails. We redesigned his week so that his mornings were dedicated to strategy and people leadership, and emails shifted to later in the day. He didn't just gain back time, he gained back impact. The shift here is not just schedule your time, but lead it. Align your energy with your highest priorities. How many of you are already working this way? Let me know in the chat, please. Third is communication that connects. At the next level, communication is about creating resonance. Great leaders listen to understand, ask better questions, and match their message to the moment. When communication becomes intentional, trust deepens and decisions speed up. I once observed a manager giving weekly updates to his team. He spoke for 20 minutes, then asked, "Any questions?" and got silence every single week. When he shifted his approach to start with, "Here's where we're going, here's why it matters for us, and here's what I'd like your input on," the entire room came alive. Suddenly, people leaned in, contributed with ideas, and felt ownership. There was a shift you can also incorporate into your business. Communication isn't about telling, it's about inviting. That's what creates engagement. Kindly Share in the chat if you're satisfied with the general level of engagement in your workplace. Coming up next is emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence is no longer optional, it's a differentiator. I see this every day. The most trusted, successful leaders are the ones who can stay centered even when things shift fast. They know their own reactions, they create space for others, they bring curiosity instead of control. This builds loyalty, it builds flow, and it boosts performance without burnout. One executive I work with was known for being brilliant but intimidating. In meetings, if someone challenged him, he reacted sharply. The turning point came when he started practicing a 2-second pause before responding. That tiny gap allowed him to shift from defensiveness to curiosity. Let me know in the chat if you would like to know how and why this works. For those of you interested in understanding what happens in the brain, let me share the neuroscience behind it. Think of the brain as having different networks that light up depending on the situation. There's the emotional network, driven by reaction and feeling. There is the thinking network, which handles logic and problem solving. And there's the salience network, the one that helps us notice what matters most in the moment. In that pause, this client of mine was able to notice his emotional surge and choose to engage his thinking brain instead, thus changing his behavior in a conscious way instead of acting by autopilot. The result of this awareness created by something as simple and small as a 2-second pause was that within months his colleagues said he felt more calm and approachable, leading to greater and better collaboration. Now, here's the shift. You don't need to remove emotion from leadership. You just need to regulate it so your presence builds trust instead of tension. Another aspect to consider to turn potential talent into rising stars is collaboration across functions. Companies that invest in breaking silos and reward when experiences are shared across departments and countries create cultures that move faster and go further. This can be done with the aid of HR and many times partnering with external experienced professionals. At Brighter Leaders, we track the impact of our work by measuring key performance indicators. Across all our projects, we see significant improvements. In some cases, KPI levels have increased by 100%. Our approach develops talent not only at the individual level, but also across the organization. Participants of our programs often tell us that colleagues who once felt intimidating have become trusted allies, transforming into internal partners. The collaboration we see across functions and the results it generates are truly remarkable. So, what's the next level really about? Clear, focus, stronger collaboration, energy that lasts, and collaboration with experts that brings out the best in others. I don't want to leave you empty-handed. So I will give you 2 simple tools to create the shift in clarity over business. The first tool is the 3 priority test. At the start of the week, write down the 3 outcomes that would make the biggest difference if achieved. If a task doesn't link back to one of those, challenge where it should stay on your plate at all. The second tool is stop, start, continue. With your team, ask, what should we stop doing that adds noise? What should we start doing that brings clarity? And what should we continue because it works? This exercise often reveals hidden time wasters and refocuses the team on what really matters. Clarity is about focusing your time, your team's energy, and your organization's resources where they create the most value. If you found this helpful, kindly like the post, share your reflections in the comments, and share this link with your network. As I promised, I have a gift. We will randomly pick one name from the attendees today and send him or her one of my books. Elma, could you please write in the comments who the lucky person is? I'd love if you shared with me one thing that you found helpful today. We have a lucky one. Congratulations, Daniel. Please send me a DM so I can get your address and you may receive one of my best-selling books. Thanks for joining me. Looking forward to seeing you all soon again.